And spawning in the top left of Romanticide here for game number 1 of our first qualifying match. It's our red Protoss player. This is Parting.
And his opponent in the bottom right side, he's fighting for the Kaisi game as the blue Zerg. It is Solar.
Yeah, I just feel like Parting always shows us great games. If he's able to qualify into Codes, first off, like his social media branding is just so wonderful. He does such a great job. I think Corsair is his one of his primary sponsors, and he's always posting videos of him sitting at his booth for GSL, which is always really, really cool. But he's also just a very dynamic character that brings a lot of personality. When you think of the Korean StarCraft scene, it's a lot of like stoic faces, very reserved. Oh, thanks so much. I'm gonna do my best to play good games for my fans. But then there's Parting. Parting comes out with this giant, larger-than-life personality. He's very quirky. He's very funny. And I think he brings a lot of personality to the Korean StarCraft scene that I won't say has never been seen before, but it's definitely a rare sight in Korea for sure.
Yeah, you know, people a bit more reserved in those types of areas usually. And it's fun to see Parting as one of those players. To be fair, Solar also very unreserved in a sense. He's very open, very you know, vocal in English as well. He's continuously talking to his fans, and yeah, just a guy that also would love to go to Home Story Cup and such again, right? He always had a lot of fun there. Just one of those more open guys as well. So I guess they have a little bit of a similar personality in that remark, right?
Yeah, I'd say they're also both very comfortable like giving interviews in English as well. So I think that probably helps a little bit too, catering to an English-speaking audience here. Parting is going to open up with a Stargate first, so rather unremarkable. I think we're more excited anymore when we see something that isn't Stargate opening up. So if we see those possible early adepts, or even just like a little charge lot timing, that's usually the more unique, interesting opening. But I think the opening choice here will more than likely still be Void Ray. I was going to say, it's still a lot of Oracle openings here in the Korean scene, but we're starting to see that influence of the EU and NA servers coming on over, and Void Ray is getting added into the mix more and more.
Yeah, for sure. That Void Ray just allows you to quickly get rid of all those overlords. To be fair, a lot of Zergs also something I've been starting to do, right? Just sending in one overlord. If the Void Ray build is becoming that popular, why are you sending in two overlords to get killed rather than just one and get the same amount of information, most likely? So yeah, Zerg's addressing that issue here and there a little bit, right? Making some adjustments. And behind the Void Ray, it's always fun, right? Because you never know what you're gonna end up with.
Yeah, this is the mind games that a lot of the Void Ray openings can bring, because you, like you said, you eliminate the scouting information from that initial overlord, and more likely than not, the Zerg player is going to hold that second overlord back, so that way they don't just immediately lose 2 of those units, but instead it is going to be a Twilight Council back behind this. Parting will be able to swing in with an Oracle, but isn't going to find too much damage here. It might find a couple of drones, which is still valuable, but it's going to be the information that Solar lacks right now, because we've got a Glaive adept timing coming in. So things. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, there was a moment where I needed to be silent, I think, because of the construction. But anyway, Roadhorn also coming up right now. Indeed, that should give a pretty solid defense here, right? For Solar, he's already on 52 workers, which is okay. Normally, when the adepts come, you want to be a little bit lower, but because there was the Void Ray opening here, you have a bit more time.
Yeah, I think this should be fine. I don't disagree with you. The one part of this for Parting is you delay so much of the timing of this, because it hits so hard when you are able to get the quicker version of it, and you don't go for that early Void Ray and you just go straight into the Twilight Council. So now that gives Solar an extra opportunity. He's going to have more roaches out. He can respond to this, but there might not even be that many roaches on the way. He'll probably have enough to defend for sure, but there's a Spire back behind this in the natural. Party's coming across though with so many of these Adepts, 15 in total, and there's probably more on the way.
Rushi, I don't think he knew at all. Just the moment when that one Ling ran into the Adepts, that's when he figured out, oh, wait a moment, you're actually doing something aggressive here. And immediately tried to make a wall off into his natural, which is working out all right. Roaches and Queens now gobbling up those Adepts here. I'll let them onto the drones, doing all right there.
There's so much damage potential that Solar limited here just by building the wall in the natural, because now all of a sudden this Adept number is much more manageable. He can deal with this a little bit better, and now Party's going to have to push this back off. Solar's effectively defended at home right now, and he's bought himself enough time to get that Spire out and on the way. This has got to be a really frustrating situation for Parting. He knows that he didn't get really any damage done.
Yeah, exactly. And then that next threat from Solar is going to be available pretty soon. He does get eyes on it, so he knows the Spire is available. So far, just building more Stalkers, not opting to go for any Phoenix or anything like that. There's some cannons on the way as well. Nothing flying himself. I thought he would start making some Phoenix, but decides to just do this solely on the Stalkers. A bit more versatile after you do manage to, well, deal or not deal with the Mutalisks.
Well, it's a good defense here by Solar so far here. Limiting the amount of damage being done by this Oracle in the natural as it continues to put down more and more of those annoying stasis traps right as Parting is also attacking with those Adepts. So the Adepts lower in number here. Those should get cleaned up by the remaining Roaches. And now it's going to be a push timing here by Solar. He's got 140 supply. He's eclipsing his opponent so far, who was going for that very strong timing. +1 is going to be done here for Parting in just a moment, but in reality, there's so much invested into getting these Phoenix out, and that's only going to do so much against this growing Muta force, and it's not going to deal very well with the Roaches on the ground.
Yeah, he's going to have to find another approach towards that, of course. They do all right, but then as soon as the numbers just get out of whack, and the Zerglings as well, of course, they will go quite to town against these Stalkers. But, I mean, if anyone can bring out some nice Blink Stalker control, I'm sure it's going to be Parting here, right? I've seen him do, like, the craziest things with Blink Stalkers, where he's just, like, you think he's dead, and he just makes only Blink Stalkers from that point onwards. Micros, like, you know, as if he's gonna explode if he micros one thing. And yeah, just somehow after 10 minutes of just pure Blink micro intensity, he managed to bring it back. I believe that was just Beyond or someone, some good Terran I've seen him do this, but well, we'll see if it's gonna work out like that again here.
Yeah, I mean, PvP is always a treat to watch Parting try and do because of that Blink Stalker micro. And we're going to get a little taste of what's happening right here. Solar trying to get a bit of a surround here. He's going to be able to find the surround that he's looking for, but will it be enough? Baneling's going to come crashing in on the bottom side. It's going to force a big blink by all of these units, and right now all of these Stalkers are being forced to play in tow, but look at the Zergling count. The Zerglings are overwhelming the position here on the Stalkers, and slowly but surely they're going to be forced to continue blinking away. The Mutas are being effectively dealt with here by the Phoenix, but at this point the Mutas are no longer necessary. It's just a focus on this large ground army here as it continues to push forward. Another warp in of those Stalkers will be able to help assist with this, but once all of the Roaches are out of the equation, the Ravagers are going to be able to get more and more damage done. But where are the Zerglings? The Zerglings are back behind. The Queens are back behind. Solar needs to regather his forces here, and that's going to allow Parting an opportunity to try and push forward. But look at the count here, 180 to 112. Solar has double the amount of supply in army over his opponent in Parting, and I don't know if this is going to be a good situation for him to try to play back from, even with amazing Blink Micro.
Yeah, those links definitely proving a little bit difficult here. Versus Terran, you have a bit more options to blink away as, you know, the stim, it's quick, but it's a bit of a rougher time to catch up with those Stalkers with the blink as opposed to the Zerglings. Just too nimble, get this around, lock them down so they can't run away anymore. And yeah, this is quite a committed attack now from Solar, but you know what, with the amount of damage that's been done so far, you should feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, he's just holding his opponent back. That fourth base only now trying to go down, but again, it's just trying. It's not going to be able to find a whole lot of footing here. More and more Banelings come crashing on in, dealing that very vulnerable damage to Stalkers already in a vulnerable position. The shield battery overcharge is allowed to be activated, but it's not going to find a whole lot of value. The warp prism's out of position. Zerglings trying to work their way into the natural location. It's just all falling apart here for Parting.
Yeah, it looks like we're just gonna have to go into a next game. I mean, he's trying his heart out, but there's no recuperation from this position here any longer.
Final warpins are coming in here. Parting trying his best. GG is called, and Solar takes game number 1 here. So that's kind of the downside of Parting's style of play, as well as his upside, where if he is able to get away with his shenanigans, if he's able to tilt his opponent off of their normal flight path, he can just take advantage of the chaos and become a very good agent of victory for himself. But if he's not able to get those shenanigans, if he's not able to land some of those very decisive blows, it unravels very quickly in his play, because I always feel that Parting thrives on the chaos. He's kind of like the Joker of the StarCraft 2 Korean scene, where he wants to get everybody off of their own game. It's like, no, you don't get to play your way. You get to play my way. And when you play my way, I win.
Yeah, he just likes to make it difficult for people to understand what's going on, and then, aha, surprise. Yeah, I like that analogy. That's a nice one. Solar, not really a Batman, though, I would say. Maybe a little bit. No, not really, right?
It's kind of an interesting comparison there, too. Solar's been a kind of a man of justice in the StarCraft scene. I know, like, he's been a very vocal proponent of reconsidering what the region lock looks like, and to be fair, here in 2021 we have more opportunities for global play than we did a couple of years ago, so maybe your comparison is a little bit more apt.
I'm as surprised as you are.
No, it's a good thing.
There's a council coming up for Parting here.
Yeah, this is the fast version. I kind of like this a little bit more. I think Parting is recognizing this as well. As like, I don't need to play as disruptive as I thought I might need to, but Solar's already going to be taking it very, very slowly on the off chance that in fact that Void Ray would be coming out. So the damage is kind of already done. So now Parting is going to be able to ramp this up just a little bit faster. But it's another Glaive adept timing. Kozan, how do you feel about this?
You know what? You try it once, it doesn't work. You try twice, maybe it will work, right? I mean, to be fair, there's no doubt in my mind that Solar is not considering the possibility of it occurring. Especially now seeing that Roach Warren coming up. Most likely, I like already as how things are ramping up, I think Solar should hold. But then again, I mean, Solar, historically speaking, he hasn't been the greatest against the Adept Glaive. So maybe this is also a reason why Parting is trying to do this twice.
He's going to just get vision of the Warp Prism going out here. And it was great Ling coverage watching all the different flight paths as well. So at this point now, Solar has to be fully aware. He's actually massing up a lot of Zerglings because this is going to hit so much earlier than it normally does. There's going to be 6 coming across the map. There won't be as many hitting on this timing, but the timing doesn't need as many when it's so early because the roaches are only now just popping out. But look at this. Solar's got his creep spread taken care of. He has those bases connected. He's got queens. He's got lings. He's going to have roaches here in a moment. I think he's going to be set for a good hold here, but we're going to have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, no real chance to get that wall off here in this natural base at this moment in time. I suppose if you really wanted to, but still difficult to do. And off to his third base he goes. Luckily, he doesn't have that many drones there, so should be okay. Still needs a couple more roaches.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 8 in the production tab right now. It's the harassment in the main base, though, that's providing a little bit of chaos, but there are a few number of roaches there trying to mitigate a little bit of the damage. Queens are all down here in the natural trying to deflect, and you're absolutely right, trying to just limit the amount of drones that are at that third base location so that he can defend it with only a spine. And now trying to stay on top of this, but Parting's not really finding any damage once again here in game number 2.
Yeah, there's just there's a little bit of a shame. To be fair, those adepts, they
gonna relive this moment, I guess, for a moment.
Those adepts, they maybe didn't have to do as much. I mean, we're looking at the worker count 35 versus 41 right now. Is not that great for Solar still. Sure, he has his third base, but Parting has his third base coming up as well. His army supply is alright, it's up there, so maybe he will be able to push a little bit across the map here. But overall, he's been so careful with adept pushes that even if he does hold it, he only went up to what, like 37 workers before he started making Ling and Roach to defend with. May not seem like a big difference, but yeah, 37 as opposed to like 41. It starts to add up over time.
It's a super low eco count, and he needs to start droning back up, and now he is going to. The lair's about halfway done. Parting also getting out to his third base location, but this is where the Zerg player can start to explode. Really not getting any of those major kills. What I was trying to go for was seeing how many of those drones had gone down, and we only lost 4. I'm so used to the Observer Plus having that available, and it's on the same hotkey as go back 10 seconds. So sorry we time warped for just a moment, but it doesn't affect the game in any way, shape, or form. So this warp prism will finally get pushed back now that the queens can actually focus on dealing that the air defense. A robotics bay going to be coming down as well. Ooh, okay, nice little run by here with these links. Finding a lot of valuable damage here, picking off that shield battery. We're going to have to watch on a couple different locations because Parting is also pushing here at that third base.
Yeah, the adepts trying to shade on by. I don't think it's going to really break him here, and I don't think he's actually planning to. Maybe he's looking for drone damage here. He is committing these adepts. They won't be as useful anymore in this part of the game after all. Actually, he's not really getting good damage with them as he's sacrificing them. We'll move them back now, yeah.
8 worker kills in that overall engagement here. The Immortals have been allowed to continue working away on that third base. The Warp Prism still finding a lot of value in providing that harassment. But again, it's kind of all just in a delayed effort to get Solar to the economy that he wants to be. But look at this. He's actually just pulling across the map here. 45 workers is all it's going to take. Parting has been probing up pretty hard. He's at 52. Is he going to have enough to be able to hold this? 91 to 43, Kozan. This is starting to look ugly.
Coming up right now with these roaches. There's a recall, a little bit of a desperation recall. Yeah, I don't think this should be going on any time longer. Shield battery overcharge. Never underestimate that though. And we are watching Parting here with a Warp Prism and his micro. Is starting to slowly hold this actually. Surprisingly so. I guess the Immortals never really were targeted down. Now trying to. I suppose with the Warp Prism there, targeting him down maybe counteractive anyway. I think that would just negate damage, right? If you pick it up with the Warp Prism, but he's starting to push on through. This third base is going to go down at least. And yeah, that should be game.
Yeah, there's no defending that third base at this point. The Ling's actually running out to a fourth base. Look, oh, they're just tracking down the units just to be sure. But yeah, that third Nexus goes down, and with it go a lot of partings at chances in this game. A couple of good disruptor shots ended up landing, but not going to be enough to actually have a chance to make a difference. And now this army is going to be able to push on forward. There's enough Ravagers here to be able to bile down any cannons or pylons that might be lying in wait. And once those pylons in the front wall are exposed, I mean, it's going to be pretty much game over. Now we see two of those gateways going down. A great dodge of that disruptor shot. Parting is making the most of this again, trying to just get as much damage done as possible to this force. But without that third base and the chance for continued expansion, now being able to only make zealots out of his gateways, it just continues to get worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, he's still trying here. He has disruptors, so maybe he sees himself as having a shot there. Well, I mean, he's gonna give it a good go. This is the GSL after all, right? You gotta give it everything you have. Otherwise, you're going to be kicking yourself at some point in the future, right? If you keep doing that, just leaving a little bit earlier. Eventually, you're going to get a game where it's like, all right, yeah, maybe I could have won this if I stayed in there, and that it's probably going to be a worse feeling than just playing for a couple more minutes in the game. You're not quite sure you have a good shot at anymore.
But where's the passion? Where's the quick games here, Kozan? I just. That's not what we want. We don't want mild-mannered players. We want the drama. No, absolutely, of course, kidding here. These mutas are going to come out, though, and that's actually going to shut this down. You're absolutely right on your assertion that two disruptors could get parting back into the game, but the moment that these mutas are out onto the map, the Warp Prism's going to lose all of its effectiveness, and it's just going to be the end for parting. And Solar, yep, immediately that has to get pulled back home. There are a fair amount of stalkers, don't get me wrong, but how is he going to be able to protect at the front and the backside of his base? These mutas are going to tear apart this mineral line. Units are going to reposition here out at the third base location. Two disruptors and a dream, Kozan, that usually can be enough here. Can he make it happen?
Well, this links it's difficult as well, but force fields are there. Doesn't even need the disruptors. How about that? Catching a couple of Mutalisk now. I mean, it's slowly just all being eaten up, isn't it? The army or the armor that Parting is having here, it's slowly corroding away, whereas Solar is just plating on more and more stuff on himself right now. He's getting a fourth base, was actually already mining from it. He's doubled down on the Mutalisk. He's just gonna grab air weapon upgrades. He's gonna get as many as he needs, as he knows. I mean, if you're just gonna go Stalkers here, I'll actually win right now with Mutalisk, given the discrepancy in economy at this point in time.
Yeah, with the...
At least as he doesn't lose them like that.
True, and given the additional production cycles that he's able to tap into with that fourth base, he's going to have plenty of Zerglings. I mean, Mutiling Bane actually isn't at all bad against a largely stalker-based force, and you have just enough roaches on the ground to soak up some extra damage. That's going to be it. Solar able to qualify for Code S out of Group A.